Hello, my name is Mary Jane Castillo, and my assignment is on sexism and racial inequality in economics. Some historical background for at least the women part of this project. When the Declaration of Independence was being written, Abigail Adams pleaded for them to remember the ladies and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors, which was a direct quote. And it did not succeed because a lot of the men at the time, including her husband, did not share those beliefs and thought that men should be the ones in power and not give it over to the women at all. Sometime after that, women organized the first women's rights convention. 68 women and 32 men signed the Declaration of Sentiments, but a lot of them withdrew their support later on because they were getting a lot of hate from it and people fighting back. But because of that, it did eventually lead to the passage of the 19th Amendment, which grants women the right to vote. One of these women who helped was Elizabeth Cady Stanton. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. She was a big part of the activism, and from a young age, she chose to fight for equal rights and did so for over 50 years. Another woman was Sojourner Truth, who was an African American woman who also was a women's rights activist and author who was born into slavery and escaping to freedom in 1826. She also came and preached about abolitionism and equal rights for everybody. And she even made a famous speech, "Ain't I a Woman?" and is even said to have, which actually earned an audience with President Abraham Lincoln and became one of the best-known human rights crusaders. And her partner, Susan B. Anthony, founded the National Women's Suffrage Association, and in 1890 the group teamed up with the American Women's Suffrage Association to form the National Women's Suffrage Association. There were many more women who slowly built through history to help get women more rights, which were practically gone at some points because of the doctrine of, I think I'm saying this wrong, curvative. It basically was a common, doctrine where that once you were married, your husband had most of your legal rights. That meant like they had your earnings, your land, your income, and pretty much controlled what you did. And before you got married, it was actually the father who had these rights. But in 1963, President John F. Kennedy signed into law the Equal Pay Act, which prohibits sex-based wage discrimination between men and women performing the same job in the workspace. And then the year after, President Lyndon B. Johnson signs the Civil Rights Act, which bans employment discrimination based on race, religion, national origin, or sex. Okay, now, because of this, today, a lot of things have improved for women, but it is not where it should be. On average, women in the labor market still earn 23% less than men globally. And women spend about 3 times as many hours in unpaid domestic and care work as men. According to the UN, at the current rate, it'll take an estimated 300 years to end child marriage, 286 years to close gaps in legal protection and remove discriminatory laws, and 140 years for women to be represented equally in positions of power and leadership in the workspace, which is wild. International commitments to advance gender equality have brought about many improvements, such as child marriage, female genital mutilation, which have declined, and women's representation in political arena is also higher than ever before, which is great, but there's still many barriers and are slowly being removed. Right now, around 2.4 billion women of working age are not afforded equal economic opportunity. Nearly 2.4 billion women globally don't have the same economic rights as men. Now, some spots where you can see where women are hired less or seen less in the workforce are in South Asia, which are seen at 32%, and the Middle East and North Africa at 23%. Current female percentage of labor forces are 15% in Saudi Arabia. globally, it's estimated that 50% of women that are prime working age have jobs, but around the world, the workers are 40% women. Now, in conclusion to this racial part, it has also affected women of a different race. In the workplaces, it was seen that most of them, as in Hispanics, Asian Pacific Islanders, Asian Indian respondents, and the white respondents, have all received some sort of discrimination, whether it was because their gender as a woman or because of their race, or both of them included. The highest seen percentage is 48%, going low as 9%, but the 9% is by white respondents. From colored people, it is as low as 23%, which is not great. But in the workplace, 35% of women are still dissatisfied with their pay because it's low, but they're not likely to try to renegotiate their pay for a higher one, especially in their first job or their new job. And it's very rough because they still have to deal with that. Now, the implication it would have on SLP is that I would have to explain that to the students that when they overcome their communication situation, that they could still struggle in the workforce because it's harder nowadays. If they are a woman that they still have these struggles in communication, they may have a higher chance of being harassed or discriminated against. And if they aren't white, even if they're perfect, they perfect the speech, they may still struggle more than others due to the racism still in the world. Things are getting better for women, and the world knows that, and hopefully they'll be able to do it freely. But also need to teach that girls can do as much as the boys can, and that they don't have to lower their dreams or expectations because of that. I would want to educate them by teaching them and practicing the equality for all, and hopefully they don't understand that better. And off of this, I'm basing the age of these lessons between teenagers. And thank you.